It's pure Americana. It's the OG pony car, and it's been the performance benchmark for decades. But today we're covering the runts of the litter, the slow, the no, and even the electrified ponies. Let's go! Okay, I bet you saw this one coming from a quarter-mile away. It's the Mustang Mach E, and it was an easy choice for this list. And before you say, hey, this thing can't be counted as a Mustang, it's an SUV, let me assure you, Ford explicitly made the Mach E part of the Mustang family, for reasons that I cannot explain. Can you? But as far as the list goes, I mean, do I even have to spell it out for you? This all-electric SUV essentially hijacked the Mustang moniker to make it seem like it had a personality. Sure, it has a Mustang-esque front fascia and a clearly written name, but make no mistake, there is not a single resemblance in design, performance, or development that shares Mustang DNA. All other Mustangs have 2 doors, rear-wheel drive, and some V8 options. The Mach E, well, it just plain shits on the iconic name. And love or hate the Mustangs, well, you can tune any single one of them to be so much fun on the back roads. The Mach E? Good luck. But there is one redeemable quality of the Mach E, the new Rally Edition Ford released. It's essentially the electric version of the Focus RS, and it's got some flair, I gotta admit. Kinda wouldn't mind riding one. This next pony is hard for me because I think it's one of the best looking Mustangs of the modern era, but I have to put the 6th generation Bullitt Mustang on this list. The whole Bullitt name came from the 1968 film Bullitt with Steve McQueen. He drives the 68 Mustang Fastback with a 390 V8 and has this epic car chase with the Dodge Charger. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it. But because of the fame of that Mustang, Ford decided to release a Bullitt Mustang package several times over the years. First in 2001, me like, then in 2008, oh baby, and then in 2019. Let me explain, because the first 2 were awesome because they not only had the iconic dark green Bullitt look, but gave customers performance upgrades to really get into the spirit. And technically, the 2019 Bullitt did the same. However, despite an extra 20 horsepower, the most recent Bullitt Mustang was still slower in most tests when compared to the regular GT. Ouch. And right there is how it ended up on our list, with around a $10,000 markup from the GT Premium. Being slower and not as capable is just not acceptable for any enthusiast. Let me say it again. Do you think the 6th gen Bullitt is incredibly sexy? Yeah, but you gotta walk the walk when it comes to nearly $50,000 Mustangs, and this one was just smoke and mirrors. The next pick on Idealist of Worst Mustangs has to be the 2000 Mustang GT Spring Feature Edition. Again, quite a mouthful, yes, and like the 20th anniversary GT350, the Spring Feature Edition suffers from the same poser package. We'll get to that GT350 in just a minute. Because this Spring Edition, well, it kind of just makes the regular V8 GTs look so much better. And for an extra $1,000 in the year 2000, you could get this package with special 17x8 wheels. Yeah, hood and side vents, black stickers, okay, and a black bumper insert that said Mustang, of course, in case everybody didn't know what you were driving. With such a long name, you'd think it would be accompanied by a long list of performance mods, but all you got were those cosmetics. It probably didn't drive any worse than a standard GT, but during this 4th generation, there were other special edition, high-performance Mustangs that absolutely wiped the floor with the Spring Edition. Spring cleaning, anyone? Now, I mean, how about a Mach 1, the Bullitt Mustang, or even an SVT Cobra R? Yeah, baby. Those cars alone, among other ponies, are the reason why the Spring Feature Edition falls flat on its face and right into our list of rejects. The 5th generation Mustang California Special is not a car, well, many people know about, and for very good reason. Now, I own a 68 Mustang California Special, and I absolutely love it for what it is. But if you don't know what it is, then you're probably not going to love it for what it's not. You see, the California Special, much like the Spring Feature Edition, isn't necessarily worse than a regular GT brethren. However, it's kind of pointless because, well, again, let me explain. With the base price above the regular GT and adding in a bunch of premium options, you are spending thousands more than you need to for the same driving experience. You might have a better sound system and a convertible top, but honestly, not much else. It doesn't help that the 6th Gen S550 came out right after the 2014 CS cars did, and they were just better in pretty much every single way. Overall, the California Special Package is a Mustang that you could do with pretty much parts from, well, the internet. But then again, if you're looking for a car that's more show than go, well, it's kind of the Mustang to get. I personally love mine, but well, for performance, it's not great. And speaking of performance, when I show you this picture, what comes to mind? Perhaps a badass tire-destroying icon that has one of the most incredible muscle car designs ever? Well, in most cases, yes, but for the 1969 Mustang E, it most certainly was not. Though this was the pinnacle year for the horsepower wars among the big three in America, Ford was still convinced they needed to cover their bases with the Mustang for those who weren't itching to make a quarter-mile pass at every stoplight. Out came the Mustang E. Yes, the E standing for, you guessed it, economy. This car was all about saving fuel, which made no sense because the Mustang's image at the time was performance. But still, the execs at Ford pushed it through production and gave it a 4.1-liter inline-six, which, honestly, is kind of cool and unique for an American sports car at the time, except for the fact that it only made a measly 155 horsepower. It would be like driving a 90s Miata today with 1,000 more pounds and none of the finesse. And to make matters even worse, which was honestly hard to do at this point, the Mustang E received really lame .233 gearing and a 3-speed automatic, literally an appliance on wheels. And when you compare this Mustang E to its siblings like the Mach 1, with the Boss 302 and the Boss 429, it's pretty clear to me that this car belongs at the bottom of the barrel. Okay, this one was basically just a shoo-in. The Mustang II, all of them. They were choked on power, based on the Ford Pinto, and had a body that could only be described as the worst Monte Carlo impression in history. These cars were terrible, horrendous, abhorrent, and any other bad adjective that you could think of. But to be fair, a lot of established American cars suffered the same fate in the 1970s due to this huge emissions regulation along with the year-long gas crisis. Which is why the Mustang II needed more eco-friendly engines like the 2.3-liter Lima inline 4 or the 2.8-liter Cologne V6, making 88 and 112 horsepower respectively. Sheesh. And by the way, the V8 wasn't much better, as it barely pummeled out 140 horsepower. The Mustang E is starting to not sound that bad, huh? And even when the quote-unquote special Cobra 2 and Stallion editions came out, they were simply appearance packages with louvers, stripes, and badges that did nothing to help its still underpowered V8. Even the crazy, and I kind of think good-looking King Cobra made no mechanical performance improvements for the Mustang. But as is the Mustang way, they sold like crazy in no time at all. That's marketing at its finest, kids. Okay, GT350, here it is. And if you already don't know, the first Mustang ever to come out is a half-year model, a 1964 and a half. So the next big anniversary edition Mustang was certain to come out in a similar fashion. Halfway through 1984, they did just that with the 1984 and a half Mustang 20th anniversary GT350. Yeah, it's a lot of words, but what this Mustang doesn't have is a lot of power, or handling, or anything resembling the GT350s of the past. Remember the first generation Shelby GT350 with a race-bred sports car co-developed with the legend himself, Mr. Carroll Shelby? And putting GT350 on anything less than that would be sacrilegious. But Ford, they did it anyway. They did it again with the Mach E. They created this shameless 20th anniversary special that promised Shelby performance, but delivered everything but. The 84 and a half GT350 came with either a 165 horsepower V8 or a 145 horsepower turbocharged inline 4, which honestly would have been cool if it would have made power like the modern EcoBoost, but of course, that didn't happen. And on the other hand, the regular 5.0 Mustangs that came during this third generation are really great and getting more popular by the day. But after all was said and done, the doo-doo GT350 gave Shelby's name quite the stain, which is probably why Ford stopped production after just over 5,000 units left the factory. So, there's our list of broken ponies. If you own any of these cars, well, you gotta let us know down in the comments below. What's your ownership experience been like? And also, let us know if there's any terrible Mustangs out there that we missed. I think we got most of them. Also, if you're new here, please like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and check out this Ideal vid up here, or whatever YouTube recommends you watch next down here. I'm Brad, this is Ideal, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.